Hello everybody, my name is Ali. I'm from the Myxxxx. Let's talk. Tonight's performance we're going to have Pamela Robinson and Javon Egypt from House of Asia. But before I get into that, we have had a hell of a year from the beginning of January to now with this COVID-19, the president, and much more. So we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter first, and then we're going to get into our transgender matter. Pam.
How are you?
Thank you. Welcome. Have a seat here. Javon. How you doing? Have a seat right here. Now our panel today is Pamela Robinson, myself, Ali Ingram, and we have Javon Egypt of House of Asia. So now we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter with Pam Robinson. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, where we left off at, we were talking about Black Lives Matter. Now, I believe all lives matter, but black people have been hit a lot with getting killed by the cops and everything else. And my thing is that I would like to say to the people, I would like to say, being that Black Lives Matter, we should also take that in consideration and stop killing one another, because that is bad as well. If we're out there marching and saying that Black Lives Matter, then we need to stop killing one another in the first place. And another thing that I would like to tell them, we're always marching when someone gets killed or someone gets hurt. I believe if we stay unified in the first place, like every other race, things wouldn't be happening to us. We stick together as one, but we don't do that. That's my
Okay. Egypt.
I'm here to talk about Trans Lives Matter, because a lot of people don't realize how many trans people have been murdered in the last year. It is in the hundreds, and it's sad because we are people too, and people should look at a person for what they do and not their gender, and that is the problem with society today. They're looking at what society says is wrong, and the only thing that's wrong is the way people think, and I'm here to change that today.
All within these episodes.
In these episodes, yes.
Yes. So Pam, since you're talking about Black Lives Matter, we have a lot of situations going on without the lives that we've lost. Trayvon Martin, that was way back when, until what's her name, Breonna Taylor. So what do you think about the Breonna Taylor incident?
I think it was unfair, unjust, because they're always saying that the justice is blind, and but it's not. It's blind to us. It's blind to people of color. Okay. It's not blind to anyone else. To Spanish people, and to us, it's blind, and it's not right. And I believe if we all bind together and stick together, instead of when someone dies or get killed, now we want to march, we stick together as a team, and then we can get somewhere in life.
Right.
But we don't want to do that.
They were saying that there was about 20 shots that was rounded off. She died in the hallway. My thing is, if her boyfriend was at the door, or allegedly going towards the door, and he let out a shot, I'm trying to figure out why he didn't catch a bullet. Do you think of anything like that, or?
Well, I heard something different. I heard when they came in, he grabbed his gun. Now, there's other incidents of them talking about he didn't protect her or whatever. To me, in my knowledge, he did. He grabbed his gun. He didn't know who it was, and he started firing. Okay? It's just that at that time, maybe because I heard that she was in the bedroom. Now, I don't know about the door. I never heard that part. But probably he got up, and when he was shooting or whatever, he could have been dodging and ducking. She didn't dodge and she didn't duck. So the bullet hit her. That's the only way that I can say. I wasn't there, so I really don't know.
Okay, Javon, Egypt, do you know anything about this incident as far as Ms. Taylor, Breonna Taylor?
Well, from what I followed is that it was an unjust murder.
Okay.
Because it shouldn't have happened the way it happened. Today, I feel that police need to be retrained on how to enter people's homes.
Correct. So it should be a no-knock law?
Yes, because the fact is, just because you think that someone is in the house, you don't know for sure who's in this house.
Correct.
There could have been a child in this house, and this child would have been murdered because you came in here shooting bullets because of the boyfriend. The girl had nothing to do with what he did, but she's the one who's dead now.
Yeah, I find that it's a little bit disturbing because of the fact that even though he shot a cop, but he shot a cop in the leg. So if you're shooting and you got your gun pointed, then that means you should be shooting him in the upper area, not the lower area. So to me it's a little bit fishy because of the fact that he shot the gun, they knocked the door down, but she got shot almost 10 times.
Right.
And he didn't get shot once. So where does that come in at? I'm trying to figure that out.
Because they came in to shoot recklessly.
Right.
Yes.
Again, the training that they do as far as shooting, why are you training them to shoot to kill?
Right.
That's my biggest thing when it comes to police training.
Right.
If you are trying to stop someone, it doesn't matter whether they have a weapon or not. You shoot them in the hand, shoot them in the arm, shoot them in the leg to make them drop the weapon.
Right.
Do not shoot people to kill them. Retrain. A sniper knows where to get you to kill you or to hurt you.
Correct.
Train them the way they train snipers, if that's the case. This way, they won't die. They may suffer a little bit, but they're not dead.
But even when he knocked down the door, I mean, I'm quite sure he saw who had the gun.
Yes.
So why didn't the guy that had the gun, her boyfriend, get shot? You understand what I'm saying? Because they're trained to, you know, when they go to their training, they're trained actually to pinpoint who's in danger of and who's not.
The problem is, just because you're trained a certain way does not mean you're going to act that way.
A certain way.
Because they came in recklessly.
Right.
Period. They came in recklessly. No matter, there's no way you can go around
and
it.
then again, you know, they're being charged with not for shooting Brianna. They're being charged for shooting into a lady's house that was next door. And I think that's ridiculous. What do you think about that?
I think that's ridiculous, and I think that if you kill somebody, you should pay for it. Cops have no reason, just like anybody else. If me or you shoot somebody, we're going to get charged. You understand?
Yes.
And I have seen in Texas where there was a guy, white guy, he was walking around with a gun, and he's pointing it at the police officers. They're busy yelling at him, put the gun down, put the gun down. He's not putting anything down. But you know what they did? They tasered him. They didn't kill him. They tasered him. You understand? And I see a lot of them, they don't kill them. They tase them. But when it comes to us, they shoot us like we're animals. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. You know? So the law, we need to stick up together and make these laws and these rules change for us, because the law is not right for us. It's not required for us.
No, it's not. It's never been from the beginning of
And
time.
they're trying never to, they don't want to never do it.
But the thing about what happens is because we don't actually vote,
Yes.
we do vote, but not enough of us vote. And what happens is the laws that pass, they pass us by because we're not involved with that type of situation of knowing who your local is, your senator, or people that you should, look up to so they can help you. So we need to go out and vote. We need to understand the purpose of voting, and the census is like right around the corner. And I'm quite sure a lot of people haven't even signed up for the census yet. And I think it's over on the 5th, if I'm not mistaken.
Because that censor helps you.
Right.
That censor helps the kids that are in school and knowing all the things that have to be paid. So you have to look at that. If you got kids, or your next door neighbor got kids, think about it if you had a kid. What would you want for your kid? Better education or whatever.
That's
so you got to sign the census.
Correct. Even the health bill and
Health
everything
bill
else.
too. Yeah.
And what about you? What do you think about the census?
Well, I think the census is good because if we don't get out there and do your census, they don't know where you are. So you can, if you're not counted for, you cannot complain about, I'm not getting what I'm supposed to get.
That's right.
Because you didn't put in for the census. So we do, if you put it in, they know where you are. So this way you can be counted. And that's the best thing about the census.
That's correct. I mean, to vote, they have different things as far as going online to vote. You can do a vote 411. You can go to libraries, you can go to post offices, you can go to churches. So they have so many different resources of voting. The reason why is because we need to change this presidency. Because if we don't change the presidency, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in so much trouble that it's going to be unreal. But we're going to change this, and we're going to go into our transgender lives matter, and we're going to be talking to Miss Javon Egypt from House of LaVesia. Miss Egypt.
Okay, so you know we always talk about Black Lives Matter. There are Black trans women who have been murdered and forgotten about, and that's the part that bothers me the most.
Okay.
Because they're not talked about. They're not put on the news. It takes us as a community to, as the LGBT community, to push forward that something is being done. They talk about the Stonewall riots, and the Stonewall riots was done by a Black trans woman.
Correct.
And
it was just at one of the functions, right?
Right, and an Hispanic trans woman. So you have people who are claiming Stonewall riots when they really didn't have anything to do with it. The people who started was trans, Black, and Hispanic people. One of the ones who started, which was Marsha P. Johnson, who I knew, was murdered by police. They can't find the police. They don't know who did it.
They're not going to find the police.
They're not. But,
right.
But the thing is, the police, whoever did it, was probably dead. The cops who probably did it was probably dead. But the investigation.
Undercover, and they wind up driving around midnight, nighttime, and then they pick up a transgender woman, and some of them accepts it and some of them don't. So the ones that don't accept it, they're going to do something to them. Either they're going to beat them up or they're going to murder them. So therefore, it becomes a thing wherein like transgender women are very much susceptible to a crime because of the way they look on the outside. But then on the inside, as far as out of clothing, it becomes a different story if the person can't accept it. So therefore, it becomes a thing wherein, a woman might get murdered, you know what I'm saying, or she might be thrown in a dumpster or something like that. Because, and at first I used to think it was a trickery, but it's not. It's just that sometimes men can't accept that fact that they are like that in their minds, whether they be bisexual, gay, or just trisexuals, or however you want to call it,
But the thing is, okay, and there's a big part of it. Yes, these men have this thing, they have this fantasy, they want to do it, and they have done it.
Right, correct.
But at some point, they switch, and now they feel, it's called a guilt trip. So now they feel guilty on the things that they have done.
Correct.
So now you want to blame the trans woman for something that you did yourself. Right. You were forced to do it.
Yeah.
And then you wind up murdering her.
Yeah.
It has to stop. They have caught some of the people that had these murders and beatings. They have found people because people, there are cameras on the street. You will be caught.
Yes.
You will be caught. If it's just a tattoo on your arm, a pair of glasses that you wear all the time, but there is too many cameras on the street today.
Yes.
So you will get caught. And the problem about the sad part about it is when they're caught, they're
take your time.
Their thing where they say how they think they're gonna get out of it is, well, I didn't know. But you did know because you were in her house, not once, not twice, correct, several times.
Correct.
People have seen you together. So the defense of I didn't know is played out now. So now we have to think about how as a community of people of color, whether you're straight, gay, bisexual, it doesn't matter, how we can stop all the murders, period. Okay.
Yeah, that's something, because even on television, I mean, pretty much every channel on OWN, on a lot of the different channels. You have all these murder shows, Cold Killer, How to Catch a Murder, 48 Hours, this, that, and the third. And it just teaches you how to think that you can get away with a murder.
Yes.
Because I was speaking to somebody, and it was so funny because she is having a problem with her husband. And then she said, I look at 48 Hours because I don't want to get caught if I ever decide to do what I'm going to do. And it's funny enough, but then you think about it, like, and this is why people probably sit back and watch these type of movies, because they can think of how to murder somebody, you know. And I think that that's like crazy, because even the kids are watching these same shows, and I think that you know, there's no way of stopping them from watching these shows. And you have horrific murders on these shows, bashing in the head, blood is all splattered all over the place. What can we do about that?
Well, the thing is, and I say this all the time, I blame the actors,
Okay.
and I blame the writers for writing this stuff, because as far as the trans community is concerned, when they have a trans person on television, they're a prostitute.
Okay.
Always. In any show you've seen them on, they're a prostitute, or they're just popping on and stuff. But
do you
in
think
actuality,
that's because of the fact that in the 80s?
but that was then.
Right, that's
and
what
today,
they did. Right.
Today is today, but they still are doing it as of today.
Yes.
Times have changed. We have jobs. We have careers. We are not on the streets selling.
Not everybody.
Not
Because
everybody.
I went to the village, and I was in the village the other day.
You know, there are some. Yes.
And it was funny enough because of the fact that as me and a friend of mine was walking towards the pier, it was like a young guy came up, but it was I don't even know what it was, because she had a mustache and a wig on. So I'm trying to figure it out. But they were prostituted. So as you know, as they're walking past, they was invited to walk with us by a friend of mine. And I'm sitting there saying, like, what's going on? So as we're talking, they're explaining to me, like, okay, oh, you know, I'm a hustler or hostess, or I'm gonna do some crap. So I'm like, first it didn't hit me. So I'm sitting there saying, oh shit, they're a prostitute. So now, as we're walking, we're prostitutes. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's because association, and I get that.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
But here's the
we're gonna
thing.
cut this off. We're gonna come back with this.
Okay.
But I want to introduce you to a person. She's very important to the community. Her name is Carol A. Gordon. She is running for State Senate, the 8th Editorial District. Sorry. Ms. Carol, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Thank you.
Javon,
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
and Ms. Pam.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. Thank you.
I want you to sit here. I want you to be in the front. Thank you very much. That's me.
You got the wide, right?
Welcome to the mix, Ms. Carol.
And thank you for inviting me to
You're
mix.
more than-
I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. Okay, Ms. Carol is running for New York State Senate. We are here to support her, and we're going to ask her some questions about what she can offer the community as a state senator.
First of all, let me introduce myself again. My name is Carol A. Gordon. C-A-G, Carol A. Gordon. And I'm running for the State Senate in the 8th District. First of all, my campaign is not your traditional campaign. I am not on the Democrat line. I am not on the Republican line. I'm not on either party line. I am doing the People's Agenda writing campaign. In other words, I am asking each and every one of the people to write me in order to get me elected. A writing campaign is not illegal. If you look at the ballot, and I don't know if the camera can bring this closer, the last line here says write in. You can write in anybody you like. I'm asking you to write me in. On the State Senate line here, and I have it one here, which is the yellow, the State Senate line. You go all the way to the bottom here, write my name in, Carol A. Gordon. You have to put it right in the box, Carol A. Gordon, or if you don't put my whole name, it will disqualify it and knock it out. I am not beholden to any particular party. I'm not beholden to any particular interest groups. I am running for the people, and the people have to put me in. If you want to change, if you'd like it different, I've been around few times every year trying to get on the ballot, getting kicked off for one reason or another. I'm asking you humbly to put me in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now my question to you is, when you become New York State Senate, because I'm going to say when you become New York State Senate.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What can you offer the community as far as a change, you know, I would say for, let's say for the homeless.
The homeless, speaking from experience, they always say experience is your best teacher. I have someone very close, near and dear to me. First, homelessness has so many issues. We have to see what the problem is. If the problem could be mental health issues, it could be financial issues, it could be health issues. We have to see what the underlying problem is. I know someone who's very dear to me has a mental health issue. He's homeless, not because he doesn't have the money. He's homeless because mentally he's not capable of staying in a place where he's supposed to be at and being monitored. And he refuses to do that because they think he's paranoid and he's thinking they're taking his money. So there's so many different issues, so many different problems.
Okay. So in that case, do you think they need to be institutionalized, or do you think, not the person that's dear to you, but just in general, do you think they need to be institutionalized, or do you think that they need to be helped in other ways?
More than likely helped in other ways. I did work at the Department of Veterans Affairs in the mental health department. I was clinic manager. I was also a patient advocate.
Okay.
So I heard thousands of situations, thousands of problems. And looking at it, again, it depends on the situation, the person, and what's the underlying problem.
Pam?
Okay, Ms. Gordon, if you are elected, what else do you think that you can change for people of our race or our color? What you think that you can do?
I would like to have more educational resources. Right now we need more educational resources to help not only people of our color, but even people in different organizations, to educate them what our situations are and our issues are.
Mm-hmm. And what about the bullying in school? Do you think that it should be a more stronger law for the kids?
It depends on, again, on the situation. I volunteer for CAPS, Child Abuse Prevention Services, in which I'm a facilitator for bullying prevention and sexual harassment. Someone, again, close, dear to me, wasn't being bullied, but the person, he always took up for other people being bullied, which made him seem as if he was the bullier. Mm-hmm. But when they found out that he was always coming to like the Superman person, they realized that it wasn't a situation. Again, we had to look deeper into the problem, see what the situation, and we had to listen. We had to take time to listen, mm-hmm. to communicate, which we're not doing much of that at all.
My question to you is, when you are elected, not there, when you are elected, okay, what can you do for the LGBT community, especially the trans community?
Right now, looking at again, from experience, my uncle was in the community even before it became an issue. He was at the Stonewall. He did so many different things. I remember growing up as a child, didn't think my uncle was any different from anybody else. The only people who noticed it was people who came in to visit us. Like, I would be in high school, my friends would come over, they would say, "What's up with your uncle?" And I said, "What's the matter?" You know what I mean? Not knowing that they were brought up differently to know that he was different. Again, it goes down to education, how resources are, and how people, how they look at things.
And again, I think it depends on also, like, we all need to understand that we need to be under the Constitution.
Right. And I believe in the Constitution, yes.
Get yourself censored, and then we can fight. And I think the LGBT community has came a long way.
Right,
I've seen so many different organizations, homeless, drugs. We spoke the other day, Javon, and we talked about a house that actually does adoption. Can you give us some information on that?
It's not a house that does adoption. It's an agency called the Children's Village.
The Children's Village.
And what they do is they are a foster parent agency. Okay? And they encourage the LGBT community to be foster parent. There are so many for LGBTQ. I'm trying to get it all around.
Because they don't name, they have
who
four
are,
letters now,
right?
right?
Who are foster parents?
Right.
Because they're not looking at your sexual orientation. They are looking at you have a job, you have a house. These kids are in the system, and they need someone.
And you could provide for
And you
them.
can provide for them. And there are so many of these people in the LGBT community
Right.
that have adopted these kids.
Right. I know several of them.
And you know, I think that when Modern Family came out, even though it was particularly a all-white show, but I think they were actually the forefront for that because they were like the first gay couple that adopted a child, and then all of a sudden it became an open forum for the thought, and then now the thought is at the table, and now it's being done. You know, so it's so much to do. You know, it's so much. We've come a long way, but we gotta come. It's a long way to
A lot
go.
further, yes.
Right.
Okay, and as far as Black Lives Matter, Pam, what do you think that could cure this issue?
I just think that if we stick together as one, come together, then most of the stuff, like I said, wouldn't happen. But right now we're like, you know, apart, and we just wait till something happen to come together.
Okay.
And we just need to be stronger, you know, the issues and stuff like that. As she was saying about the police officers doing what they do, and the cameras are there. Yes, the cameras are there for them to catch whatever they do, but they're protected by the law. They're
Yes,
protected by the law. So therefore, if they're caught killing somebody or whatever, they always is a hush hush, brush it up under the table, and it's gone.
See, I think that's why we need to follow up on Sundays when we out shopping. Reverend out shopping comes on Sundays, I think at 8 o'clock. And this is what he talks about as far as him going to Washington D.C. with thousands of people. We're hoping that, you know, the police funds get, you know, denied this year as far as, you know, being taken away from them. You know, so he's doing a lot as far as Black Lives Matter. But we need to understand, as far as our young people, they're out there marching. They're out there doing their thing. Even though they got a little looting in their brains from time to time, and they want to burn down cars and all kind of stuff. I think that's just because they're mad at the situation, you know, and no justice, meaning for they have no justice. So the people that are not giving them justice, they're not giving them no peace. So at first I used to think it was, well, what did that mean? Like, you know, and now that I look at it, not that it's right, but is it wrong? No justice, no peace, because they're not giving us no peace because they're killing us. So that means we want our justice and we want our peace because we're not belligerent. We're not running out there trying to rob. Even when the COVID-19 came about, you had the president come on with all this stuff. He brought out the National Guards. He brought out the Army because he thought that when he shut the world down or shut the United States down, that we would be looting. But nobody did nothing. Nobody looted. We all chipped in. We all helped each other out. We was like feeding each other. We did a lot of things. And then all of a sudden, this Floyd came about with the knee on the neck, and it just destroyed everything for us. And now it's bringing it back as justice. And I think that that's important that we think about. But we have to vote. It's no other way. And for me, I think that we need to vote Carol A. Gordon into State Senate, and we'll be right back after these messages.
The Africa Vision Card, a reloadable debit card that controls up to 5 different currencies in one account. Our belief in the promise of the new Africa inspired our innovation to launch Africa's first free smart card. Our customers can now make 24 hours global cash withdrawals and transact businesses with ease. With pride in our 24 hours live customer service, headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, corporate branch in Lagos, Nigeria, and unique reward programs, we are well positioned to pioneer Africa to the world of artificial intelligence and walk you through to the new Africa. Africa Vision's Card, the king of cards.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Robin's house. And before we get into our evening entertainment, I just want to remind everyone to use their personal protective equipment, hand sanitizer, wipes, so you guys can, wash your hands, wipe. We have our masks. Must wear your mask. Protect other people, if not yourselves. And then we have our little alcohol wipes. So I just want to remind you guys to please wear your personal protective equipment and wear your mask. And on that note, I'm going to introduce Carol A. Gordon, our senator that's running for the 8th House, something to that effect. But anyway, we have Miss Gordon for you, and here she is.
Good evening. Thank you, Robin's House, for having us here today, and Holly, thank you for having us with the Myxxxx. I appreciate it. My name is Carol A. Gordon, and my business is called Unspoken History Treasures. I have collected anything that had to do with African American history. Once the people that was enslaved hit United States soil, I collected from then on. I went all the way back to the 1700s up to present. Here I just brought a few things to let you know why I collect and some different things that I do collect. Looking at your history, if you don't know where your history came from, you never know where you're going. Here, to my left, is an Aunt Jemima box. If you look at this Aunt Jemima box, as time went on, the one earlier than this, she was very grotesque looking and had a full bandana. This one here is about the 60s. They made half a bandana. And the newer one, if you look today, that they've taken off the market, had pearls, no bandana, and pearls around her neck. These salt and pepper shakers were always premiums, given away for people who was traveling, going down south, poor white people, and some people African American, but they always got this. You figure after the Civil War, when they say people that was enslaved was free, mentally they said we were free. But if you look at it another way mentally, we were still people that was enslaved. You had the salt and pepper shakers, they were black, and they were always still doing the work. If you look at the pancake box, we were still doing the work. Mammy's always in the kitchen making delicious pancakes for the family, being the servant of the house. I collect so many different things. Like I said, I bought certain things. These here are my mascots. I always bring them everywhere I go. This here is Mammy. If you look at Mammy, if you look at everything that she portrays, she's always standing with her head up, proud, her hands on her hip, in spite of what she's been through. A kid's taken, a man taken, house not stable. She's always proud. I have a little baby there eating watermelon, since they always portray us eating watermelon, but kids are innocent, and that's why I have that. The other one is the riding lawn jockey. If you ever see the man on the lawn holding, I guess sometimes there's a lantern. If you look at the history of that, and if you look on my banner up at the top, that's an older lawn jockey. History states, since we didn't tell our history, states that the little boy's last name was Gordon. As time went on, Gordon was supposed to help George Washington in his army. Some people said he was the horse stable person, groomsman, horse groomsman, and some stories say that his father was in George Washington's army. George Washington was going to fight one day in the war. The little boy, Graves, went with him, wanted to go. They said, no, stay behind, watch the horses. When George Washington came back from fighting in the army, the little boy was frozen with the horse reins in his hand. They said George Washington was so moved by it that he dedicated a statue in his honor, which was supposed to stand in Mount Vernon. Now, when you look at all the research books and stuff like that, they said that was not true. But looking at the history, when they made George Washington's home and his historical landmark, before that happened, they raised it. So that means they took everything out of there. So if there was anything there that had to do with history that was pertinent to us, it was not there anymore. So these are my 3 mascots that always come with me. Here's a sign here. You can see what happened at the time of colored only, 1931. That goes as far as back as that. The little boy here, as you can see, he has a shirt on when Shirley Chisholm was running for president. And here's a button here, Shirley Chisholm for president. And on his coat is all the buttons from Shirley Chisholm for president. The middle picture there, I have to stand up to see what I have in the middle, to show that the positive reinforcement started coming out. You have Muhammad Ali on the Woody's box. Here is the Harper's Weekly newspaper. And everybody probably seen that around. This is from 1860. That was called Slave Ship Wildfire. It was scheduled to bring 1,000 people, but instead it brought 600. 90 died on the way. Out of the 600, 50 of them were young men, 400 were boys and girls in the age from 10 to 16, and the rest were women and young girls. Reading the article, it talks about the little boy that's standing there with his hands like that, with no clothes on. His name was Happy Jack. And Happy Jack's job was to play the harmonica. And when they brought the people down from the barracks at the bottom of the ship, the hull of the ship, they would wash them down with salt water, grease them up, make sure they looked nice and healthy by the time they got here. And his job was to play the harmonica. When he played the harmonica, they gave him a sailor's cap, a sailor's jacket. Meanwhile, he was thought it was the nicest thing for him to play this harmonica, but they would call him, look at that little monkey, look what he's doing. And looking at the things they were saying to him, but he didn't understand because of his language barrier. But just the things they were saying to him, and he thought his job was of playing the music to make everybody happy, but it was to make everybody move so they wouldn't be so stiff when they came here to be sold. To see how they started putting things in our brains, this book here is from 1926. I bet you nobody knows that Raggedy Ann and Andy had a mammy, and her name was Beloved Belindy. Beloved Belindy would always do nice things. Reading this book, here's the Beloved Belindy doll. You always see Raggedy Ann and Andy, so this is the mammy. And she would have different stories in here. It was nice stories. It would say, here's Raggedy Ann and Andy. It would say things like, Beloved Belindy was the mammy of Raggedy Ann and Andy, and Raggedy Andy. And all the other dolls in the nursery, she was the nicest, fattest, soft rag doll you would ever care to cuddle. And the smile painted on her face was as cherry as could be. So she did all the nice things, get everybody jovial, playing together, singing together. But just the idea, in 1926, slavery was supposed to be over and done with. So I collected all these things, and my children had came up with the name called Unspoken History Treasures, which means it's not spoke about, it's a treasure, and it's about history. Each week I'm going to bring something different, talk about a topic. I appreciate you all. Know your history. because you have to know where you came from in order to know where you're going. Thank you. My name is Carol A. Gordon, Unspoken History Treasures.
Back to Robin's House, guys. You just heard from Carol A. Gordon with Unspoken History Treasures. If you tune in every week, every Monday from 7 to 8 here at the Mix, we'll have more Unspoken History Treasures that you guys probably aren't aware of. Now, on that note, we're going to go to our poetress, Mika J. Woods, with our poetress with some poetry. Mika?
Hello. Thank you for the invite to Robin's House. So tonight I have two different pieces for you. The first piece will be a bit more political because it's for someone who is running, Carol A. Gordon. She is running for senator in the 8th editorial district out here in Long Island. So please do vote for her. This one is for her because she has her unspoken history treasures. So this one is for Carol. It's called Did I Break It Yet? Did we break it yet? I'm talking about the system. I'm talking about the happiness and bliss that they think they are living in. I am asking about the white privilege that they think they are safe in. Did I break it yet? The safety net that they think they live in, the hope that they have in their justice system, the fire that they feel only lives within them. Did I oust it yet? Has our protest upset you yet? Blocking your daily traffic because you tried to continue life as if our lives didn't matter? Have I broken through yet? Broken through your everyday Instagram chatter, popped up on your discovery page so that you had no choice but to look at what really mattered? Did I break it yet? Break through to your short attention span that only listens to Trump saying, "Let's make America great again." But low-key, you still have a subscription to a few black influencers page on OnlyFans. I'm just saying, did I break it yet? Break through to your noise cancellation AirPods with my chance of no justice, no peace. It's time to get rid of these racists behind police. Did I break your heart yet? With black children being pepper sprayed instead of images of farm animals being spayed? Did I break through yet? On your Instagram with videos of black people being rubber bullet sprayed instead of people out here praising Trump for a stimulus check that they have yet to understand that one day they will repay? Did I break it yet? Break the lock on your mind that only you have the key to understanding why we fight? So tell me, did I break it yet? That was my first piece. So my second piece is about the second topic that was discussed tonight, which is transgender life, and it does matter. And so this piece goes out to someone special to me because I was the person who had a lot of questions that may not have been appropriate. I had a lot of questions, and I had to understand that it's none of my business. No matter how they live their lives, no matter what choices anybody makes, it's none of my business, nor is it yours. It's up to them. So this one is called I Owe You Nothing. I owe you nothing. Not the shirt off my back, nor the title you feel you lack. Nor to answer your questions about the body that I am set in. I owe you absolutely nothing. I have given you me at face value, and I could care less for your bittersweet counsel or your opinions on how I should live my life because I owe you nothing. I have given you me, upfront and personal, but you're more concerned about how the pipes work behind the curtains though. Can't you see that before you I have presented myself a whole misunderstood human being, but yet you give me questions on how I came to be? I am as God created me, and that is all I owe you, is that tidbit of intimacy. So could you please have some decorum and decency? For there is no target on my back for you to point and leer at. Nor am I your hunting deer for you to chase through the streets to find and beat while bragging to your friends like this is some great defeat? All because I am queer or trans or bi or gay, you feel it is okay to disrespect me as if I owe you my shame. But you're wrong. Now, I want you to look at me in my heart, not in my face, as I remove the stake that you feel you have placed, so that you can see that it was never the case. If you look closer, you will see that your hate could never penetrate what was inside. Because long before this time, God filled my heart with pride, so you can feel and do as you oblige. But just know that I owe you nothing. I'm Myxxxx Woods. Thank you.
Yay! Welcome back to Robin's House, everyone. You just heard from our ultras, Myxxxx Woods. But before we get into some more entertainment, I just want to fill you guys in. I'm sure everyone watches Power, Ghost Part 2. And we know Mother Mary J. Blige, she's tearing it up. She's tearing it up, guys. And you know, her son, Kane, he's an executioner. He's pulling no punches. He's shooting everything up. So you guys, make sure you tune in because every week is getting better and better. All right? We'll be back with you in 5 more minutes. Okay, and here we are back at Robin's house, and we have our last guest for you, which is Egypt from the House of LaBeija. heard Egypt from the House of LaVesia, and our music is for entertainment purposes only. Now, back to the mix.
Welcome to the mix. This is the Mix family. We are missing 2 of our panels, which is Atia Murray and Annette Edwards. But right now we are here with Javon Egypt, Miss House of LaVesia. It's her birthday. And we are here with Cal A. Gordon, that's running for State Senate. So we are here every week, Monday from 7 to 8 p.m., giving you the who, what, when, where, and whys, and everything about the dot and the I's. So next week, we're going to continue with Black Lives Matter. We're going to still get into a little bit of transgender, and we're going to talk about Carol and her running. We're going to do this every week until people are adjusted to what we're saying. Vote, VOTE 411. You can call it in, you can go to your library, you can go to your post office. Just vote. My cake is melting. But just vote, okay? And therefore, we can become one, and we can run some of the stuff that we're running from. Vote. Thank you.
And wear your protective personal gear.